Good evening then, ladies and gentlemen across the world. Welcome aboard to WOR. This is the Legacy Division. It's round number 10 and 11 here tonight. First off at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, followed of course with the Bahrain Grand Prix. What will be a little bit of a mixed bag. It's our next couple of reverse championship grids. It is myself, Jota, alongside Joseph, your usual co-commentary pairing here for this particular event as we go straight into the swing of things here, Joseph, because of course with it being a reverse championship grid, there is no qualifying, so straight into the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Two racetracks where we are currently not scheduled to race this year. Obviously, it's been postponed officially for the time being in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, owing to the difficulties going on over there. But our pleasure is that we can still race here, and well, yeah, reverse grid racing. It's always very exciting. We've got our league leaders at the back. SCI for our first race this evening. It will be FST at the front, and of course, a lot of pressure on them to deliver another race victory after their heroics in the sprint at Belgium the other week as well. So yeah, very exciting indeed.
Yeah, quick reminder then of what the standings look like going into this one. Of course, from the back, starting on pole, fastest day true on 103, back down to the bottom after battling really hard at the moment, the Bravo Racing Club and IRT. 103, 108, 112. Very good battle, that one. Grand Track 10 on 185. Future Racing Team dropped to 6th now on 246 with ET8 on 250, climbing from 7th to 5th. AMR 274, Ventari in 3rd now after overtaking AMR from a poor race last time out at the Las Vegas Grand Prix 4's event. RSC are 2nd overall again, 348, and then of course the Suzuki Igniters on 443, really starting to put an edge on the rest of the drivers out on the field. We'll talk a bit more actually in the interim about the Forza event, because of course it was mix and match across the board here, because of course accidental safety car meant that some rules needed to be implemented. We ended up awarding not the full points of both of the races, so that's, I don't know, sort of decimated the chances of those in the midfield to close up the gap on the Shazoo Cedar Igniters. But SCI themselves, very much an up and down race last time out at Las Vegas. So they'll now go into this race with the hope that they can try and take a 1-2.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, the right things applied in the end. It was a 12-lap race in the end, our first one in Las Vegas. Yeah, it was like a bit of a lag switch. Got switched on after that restart. It was very peculiar to watch indeed. But yeah, fair's fair over the course of the two races. Only 30 points handed out for the race victories. Otherwise, you just have an imbalance across the two, which is one of the flaws, I suppose, of having the fours format. But yeah, in the end, everybody gets the same amount of points. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, SCI and FRT are two winners last week. Big one for FRT, of course. Quite a lot of waiting on Quantum's win. He's racing again tonight. That just keeps them in the race for P3. And they've got a good starting position this evening, running from the 5th row in this particular race. So watch out for them.
Yeah, watch out from them indeed as well. Simbarox1 and Jaden will be on pole here tonight. Then it's Nam and Tony making his return to GT10. You've got Esco and Harm then for FST down at the back of the field, though, of course, starting from the back with Polly and Dimitrov, the BRC rather, sorry, looking pretty strong. AMR need to bounce back from that poor Las Vegas race. Otzazito and Tiago. We've got Nick and Ray for VNT, Rafael and Gavroche, RSC, David and Quantum, as you rightfully mentioned there, Joseph, there tonight for FRT. Lorenz and Matteo, ET8, and then Dirk and Snack rounding out the top. No silo here tonight in a circuit that is particularly difficult, with these drivers very keen to get going at a circuit like this one. What is going to happen in a reverse championship? No more waiting. Let's go racing then here in Saudi Arabia. You've got, of course, Fastest Stay True leading the way with Harman Esco going into turn 1. Expectation is that things should be relatively calm for these towards the front here. However, you may end up starting to see RSC start to make a little bit of a budge here. It's an important race here for the front three teams here, because, of course, they want to earn big points off the back of each other, only separated by a very small margin indeed. Snack and Pierre trying to get in their own little mix at the moment, but Dirk also getting the move done, and now SCI up to 18th and 19th respectively. Esco holding strong though in this one here as everyone stays all in fair warn.
Absolutely, FST with a perfect start, still leading 1-2 here, and then IRT in 3rd and 4th in the kick saddles, the luminescent green. It's as you were for the top three teams in the reverse grid, actually, as VNT Nicolas gets ahead of AMR Tiago there back there. There's a bit of side-by-side action there going into the right-hander. Almost some wheel hooking as the Ferrari gets on the inside of the Williams. And now a great exit for the Ventari's Ray Wince as well. They're wheel-to-wheel. A bit of a drag race in towards turns 22 and 23. Really high-speed chicane here, flicking left and then right in quick succession. But on the whole, quite a clean first lap here in Jeddah, with SCI just trying to poke their nose in to this very exciting battle in front of them.
Yeah, Dirk already a couple of positions. Lorenz, now up 3. We've got a big dive bomb there, I think, from Snack, who gets into a collision. I think it was actually Dirk in that one. I think it was a bit opportunistic at best to go 3 wide through to the final corner of turn 27. So that is his race in a severe jeopardy if he's got any kind of damage at all. That's the last thing SCI need at the moment. Big dive bomb going into 1 from Tiago. Needs a couple of bites of the cherry. Gets the move done on Raphael. Now wants to try and get the move done if he can on Ray Wince for Ventari, but can't look for it here on this occasion. Wow, very close indeed towards the back here between RSC and SCI. No love lost at the moment between the front 2 teams in this championship at the moment. They're still at the back as the final 4 drivers. They're trying to make some inroads, but the midfield is battling pretty strongly. Meanwhile, at the moment, it's on as even for the front 3 teams. As it stands, FST still leading the way. RSC are in there. Sorry, pardon me. That's IRT in the mix there in the middle. And then RSC down, pardon me, again, BRC. I'll get there in the end. 5th and 6th place, respectively. You saw something, Joseph?
Yeah, Snack opportunistically went down the inside at turn 13 on Tiago. He got it done nice and cleanly. That's because Tiago does have some end plate damage on the left-hand side, so he's looking very, very vulnerable into these medium to high-speed corners, and there are a lot of them around Jeddah, the world's fastest street circuit, as it likes to label itself as. So, yeah, just keeping on Tiago's pace. I think that might start to plummet. Certainly have an effect on his tyres as well. He's down 3 places in the opening 2 laps.
Yeah, 290 kilometers an hour in 8th gear as you go through turn 26, and you'll brake hard into turn 27, braking all the way down to just 60 miles an hour as you then go around that left-hander as we keep an eye on Esco Harm. Jaden, Simbarox, Polymasse and Dina at the moment just holding on as station very nicely at the moment, but no surprises here. You've got GT10's uncle just starting to breathe down their neck a little bit here. Tony Reich himself wants to try and carry on the good form that he's currently got at Grand Track 10.
Yeah, he does indeed. He certainly wins further earlier on in the season. Now, bit of pressure to try and make 6 overtakes, but he is going long on this hard compound tyres. We've seen him do this before, notably did a superb stint back in Singapore, didn't he? And that just ran away with that one. In the end, it's a long race for Uncle to try and get another win. It would be his 4th on the board for GT10 this season. Just watching further back again, Dirk stuck his nose down the inside at turn 1. It was 3 wide between him, Tiago and Raphael. Somehow, when there was contact, but they all just about squeezed through in one piece. Tiago hoping he doesn't lose any more of his front wing, of course, but at the rear of the field, RSC 19th and 20th, not making the progress they would have hoped. Already seeing their closest rivals in the championship, SCI, going on up the road. But they are on the hard tyres. They are playing the long game in this one. And speaking of said long game, Uncle is ahead of Matiev in P6 now, as Harm goes wheel to wheel with Jaden. So much happening at once here. Can he go around the outside to try and break up the FST 1-2? Holds the inside into turn 2. Just a bit of a nudge on Harm there. And Simbarox 1 looking to follow through as well. Can't quite do so. We've got some action at the front finally.
Yeah, finally managing to get some inroads here. Jaden trying to get past Harm and does so, but then Simbarox 1 also looking for it as well. Harm looking a little bit harmful at the moment, if I'm honest with you as well, but Simbarox 1's internet's looking a little bit shaky, to say the least. Actually, I think that's probably just as a result of IRT just sort of telling Jaden, you might as well go for it now. You've put a bit of a gap between us and the BRC's Polymasse at the moment, but in doing so, of course, it's allowing them to put a bit of an edge on colours. We've got Simbarox 1 still trying to get in there with Harm, electing not to go for the move through the next corner up here, which obviously proves to be more of a challenge than meets the eye. die if you get that one wrong. Either way, I think that's just up at the top, if I remember rightly. Turn to the edges of the corner at turn number 14, 15, I think it is. There's 27 of them. There'll be one of them will be right. Anyway, you've got Simbarox 1 trying to get as close as he can to harm, but still no. Ice has been broken between the pair of them. They remain as they were. Polymassy, on the other hand, however, is starting to look a little bit shaky off of the back now of this Tony Risha. Goes for the big dive going into turn 27, and I tell you what, that's a cracking move. He's up to 5th.
I was actually on board with Polymassy. It was actually quite a surprise to see Uncle just flying up the inside, but he got that car stopped somehow. And yeah, his overtaking masterclass continues. Last week's race winner in the second race, Quantum, is up into P10, overtaking Uncle's teammates. And Simbarox 1 is around up the road. He spun on the exit of turn 2. Didn't quite catch what happened, but in a good position that they were, IRT. Well,
oh dear me.
Back to sort of their usual spot.
It's getting a little bit mental now as well, because I think Harmer's got some severe wing damage because he's having to give up positions left, right and centre, and he's missing not just flaps, but he's missing entirety of that left side of the rear wing, and I'm wondering if he's got into a collision with Simbarox 1, and that's the reason why that has ended up sort of causing a little bit of mayhem in the midfielders. Of course, everyone's trying to get past him as quickly as they possibly can, so it looks like to me IRT and FST have got into a little bit of a collision, and that down at the back of the field at the moment. That's the last thing that they need. Esco, though, has got a 7/10 gap to the other IRT driver of Jaden, so hopefully for his sake he'll manage to keep them in front now for the next 20 laps. The problem is he's got a very, very quick, guess who? Tony Rees, GT10 Uncle on the inverse strategy, now up to 3rd.
Yeah, I'm already struggling to see how, just as individuals now, FST and IRT can keep him behind. I mean, maybe with 2 drivers each, there might have been somewhat of a chance, but yeah, they did the silly thing, the 2 teams, without pointing any fingers, knocking a driver each out of the race when it's the biggest opportunity you get all season just to try and hold on to a race win from the back end of the championship. Yeah, it's not an ideal circumstance at all. GT10 Uncle will be feasting, you'd think, in the next few laps as his tyres get into a better state, I'll say, than the mediums.
Yeah, while one GT10 driver is making inroads, the other is falling. Nam now down to P11 at the moment after making an inroad, and make that P12. He's made another mistake as he gets a horrible tank slap, and make that 13 as well, and make that 14th with Ray Winter and 15th with Dirk. In this one here, he's really struggling out there at the moment as the GT10 man. I think that is the, no disrespect to Nam, but just to GT10 generally, the very epitome of their problem at the moment when you've got one driver running riot, as Ray Wince has actually just given the position right back to Nam.
Yeah, he has indeed. I was a little bit worried about that rejoin there because it's such a high-speed section of the track, isn't it? And you, rejoin almost on the racing line, and then, of course, there's that really bumpy curb on the exit. Just asked Mick Schumacher a few years ago how he feels about that one. So, yeah, it did well in the end just to keep that going. On to the other Haas, and there's an opportunity presenting itself here for Uncle to go down the inside at the final corner, just like he did on Polymassy. That's another move completed. So easy for him at this point in time. And he might have a run now as well on our race leader, Esco. But he's just too far back on this occasion. I think come the end of this lap, he will have him for absolute dust.
Yes, the situation report at the moment for Uncle is that he is flying out there, and GT10 could be on for another race victory, which saw their points total go from the low depths of the 10s into the high hundreds. They might be approaching 200 points if they keep on with this one. Of course, just to answer Ron's question in the chat, thanks for being alongside us for this one. It is a 2-race event here tonight. Pierre getting the fastest lap of this race here in Saudi Arabia. We'll be taking a trip to Bahrain in just a few minutes time. As soon as this race comes to a conclusion, around about half an hour, I would suspect, it'll be straight over to Bahrain. But situation report as it stands here, GT10 are definitely the firm favourites for this one, as we've got Simbarox 1, who's retired on circuit. He's crashed, and now we'll be wondering to see what's going to happen here. But it looks like, I don't know, he's got involved in another collision with Harm. I don't think he has, but it looks like he's crashed. If my math works it out right, turn 4-5, which indicates to me possibly that inside, maybe inside wall.
Yeah, it just turned in too soon, I imagine. Same could be done at turn 4. It's a lot more common. We haven't seen it yet. Touch wood, we don't. Because it's always one of those embarrassing collisions that you just never want to see again, really. But, yeah, unfortunate for Simbarox one. I mean, again, without seeing what happened to him, he was in a great position. He was looking aggressive to try and overtake Harm when the opportunity came in. And down the inside goes Uncle at turn 1. There we go. Just flicking back to the front, he's taken the lead of this race. I don't think he looks back at any point in time from now on.
Yes, inverse strategy means that he's going to be on the better tyre at the end of this one as well, albeit, of course, everyone behind, of course, except for Laurens and Quantum as his nearest hard tyre runners will be pitting a lot earlier, so you might find that everyone else will be on a faster tyre. At the moment, there's no faster man than GT10's Uncle, and of course, with the Shizou Cedar Igniters well down the field at the moment with their qualifying position, because of course they are the championship leaders, the fundamentals of it is that the fact that they haven't even got silo racing here tonight as well would suggest to me that Uncle is the firm favourite to really capitalise on a couple of race victories. Like we said, he did it last time out, didn't he? For the team at the last reverse championship races. So why not try and take a 100% record in this season of the reverse championship races?
Yeah, he's certainly on for it. It would be quite the record, and it's also smart deployment from GT10. They've known exactly where to use him in the races where there are double 2 races to play for instead of just the one every evening. So yeah, got to say full credit to him for taking the opportunity every single time he's been on the grid this season, as Laurens goes down the inside of Matiev. So he's just keeping him company, he's just keeping him on his toes, but still 3 cars in between himself and Uncle at this moment in time. First pit stops of the evening that aren't for David's come in, as has Otsuzito. Had a fantastic race too last time out.
Yeah, no damage for David and Otsuzito. Go. No issues whatsoever for those 2 drivers as they commit to their usual pit stops onto the hards now until the end of this race. Gap now 1 second between Uncle and Esco, so no issue whatsoever for DRS behind either. So Esco is now in his own little bubble in a battle with the likes of Jaden, Polymassi and Laurens, who is now flying at the moment, the former Shizou Cedar Igniter, now ET8 man. Climbing his way up the standings. His teammate Matteo down in P8 at the moment. Currently in a battle with FRT's Quantum, of course, our race winner from race 2 last time out. He'll be hoping that he can still capitalise on the inverse strategy, despite the fact he's stuck in a bunch of midfield runners. As we keep an eye out on that one, I want to go back, if you don't mind, to the very almost closing battle at the moment between Matteo and Quantum, because obviously both of these drivers are on the hard tyres. Be worth not to battle too hard with the pair of them here, because of course they're on the same strategy. So whilst everyone else is slowing up around them, really at this point in the race, surely it's about working with each other.
Yeah, definitely. They don't want to lose, certainly in Matteo's situation, any race time to his teammate, because Laurens will play a big role for him later on in this race. Of course, Quantum will be in exactly the same mindset, even though they are obviously rivals FRT and ET8. They are going to need each other if they want any chance of beating Uncle. He's already pulled 2 seconds to Polymassi, and he's no slack, by the way, the BRC man. So, yeah, really interesting battle playing out there. More drivers have come into the pits, though. Esco, Jaden, Matiev and Namable come into the pits now as well. They will filter out behind David and Otsuzito. Certainly is a bit of battling on the exit, though. Jaden and Esco actually just edging ahead of the Ferrari. And, yeah, can Otsuzito, with his warmer tyres, get involved with that one? He'll certainly be frustrated.
Yeah, worth making note that the undercut relatively powerful then as it stands so far here, so that will put a little bit of a worrisome feeling in Polymassi's shoulders at the moment. 2.5 seconds back. Well, Laurens has managed to get within around about 3/10. Quantum, very important lap here for Quantum. Ideally, he'd want to get within the 1 second barrier of Laurens so he can defend from a potential attack from Matteo, but as it stands so far, he's not had a good lap. If anything, he's actually lost time, and that's allowed Matteo to get perilously close to the back of the Racing Bull, of course racing in the special white liveried Red Bull is Matteo here for ET8. Is he going to look for the move? He's not using overtake, but he is getting closer. He's going to go for the dive. I wonder into 27. He will not on this occasion. So clearly determined to work with each other at the moment here. Polymath surely is going to be diving into the pit lane here, and he certainly is. So he dives in now. Laurence will take P2 out of his hands with Quantum in P3, Matteo in P4, but that will make that one P3 as he goes into turn number 1. And ET8 make it a 2-3, albeit they need to make a pit stop.
Mute. There we go. Matteo, he had a poor exit out the final corner, actually.
I think he's got damage as well.
Earlier down that straight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that's just slowing him up a little bit here. And it will be, because we saw what happened to Tiago it was earlier on in this race. He's now at the foot of the hard runners. That even just a little bit of damage can harm you, and certainly lost the balance coming through that final corner. But, crucially, now in the DRS range of Laurens, whether he's just slowed up a little bit, just knowing that Uncle is far too far away to even think about pushing and go full quality mode, just in a supporting role now for Matteo until the pit stops. But what does he do? Does he change that wing? Does he ride this one out? I think he has to stick with it. I think it's just too much time to lose in the pit stop phases.
Yeah, 27 corners though. It's going to be particularly difficult having that massive amount of understeer with the missing end plate on the left-hand side of that Red Bull at the moment as well. But he has got within the DRS of Laurens, but it looks like, as you said, I think Laurens is slowing up just a little bit to try and help Matteo along here. Of course, they've got a very strong battle ET8 here because last year's runners-up, 2 years in a row for the matter, are on course at the moment for their lowest position in WOR Legacy Division since Season 3, where they finished P8. So it's pretty important here that they continue onwards and try and earn the big points if they can help it. And that might involve making a few sacrifices, not going for the race victories, but if they can take a double podium at an event where they finished started right in the midfield, this is actually going to be fairly important. Snack in the pit lane, by the way, is now coming out of the pits. It'll be important here to see what is his overcut is going to be like in comparison. He's come out behind Ventauri's Nicholas, so situation report for him, he is down a little bit.
Yeah, SCI played the really long game in this one, up to lap 12 now, medium tyres for SCI Dirk, who is a couple of seconds off this P2 to P5 pack, ahead of 2 other hard runners, but yeah, everyone else. David, who's leading those who have made pit stops, is only about 5 seconds behind. So in terms of race time, that's about 15 seconds SCI Dirk has to gain here. It is a tall order for the remainder of this race. Certainly possible to claw within 5-6 seconds, we'll see. But yeah, any more might be a really tricky ask, because Tiago's just struggling there now. Just David's overtaken him. Esco now is going to get through him, and Tiago opens up his line and gets through there as well. So yeah, he'll surely pit on this lap, but all question marks now on over how much he gains back.
I'll tell you what though, Matteo had a horrible turn 13. He absolutely got a bucket of oversteer, which is a little bit of a miracle considering his situation with the front wing. You can see there on the right hand side, his left, that it's disappeared. Dirk is now in the pit lane. We'll see how bad the situation is for him and whether he can continue to make any kind of overtakes on this overcutting strategy here. He now is going to be leaving the pit lane considerably down, I think, behind Pierre, maybe even behind Harm as well, actually. We'll see as he approaches the next corner. Where is he going to be in comparison? He actually just gets in front of the battle with Pierre and Harm, so he's at least got a little bit of clean air, 5.6 seconds to just manage his race pace here, so it's not the worst situation in the world for the SCI man. But Matteo get a better turn 13 on this occasion as he now sticks within the touching distance of Laurens. And I'm going to be honest with you as well, Uncle's just slowed up a little bit as well. It was about 4.3, gap now 3.7, so wondering if Uncle's just getting a little bit off the throttle here. Maybe he's considering a bit more of an overcutting strategy, maybe wants to take the mediums a little bit of a shorter stint in comparison to those around him.
I think Laurens has really picked up the pace as well, because of course he's dragged Matteo away from Quantum, and that didn't look likely earlier on at all, as Ray Wintz now, Quantum's got damage on the right hand side. That will explain some of his pace deficit. Ray Wintz goes around the outside for Ventauri. He gets that one done nice and easily, but yeah, certainly Laurens doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. His front wing is intact in comparison to the 2 aforementioned drivers, so yeah, Matteo will be thanking him, I do imagine, at this point in the race. No pit stops for the hard runners just yet. Might go as early as this lap, to be fair. We've seen 11 lap stints from Snack, the only one to do that. Dirk did 12, so could be as early as this lap. We see some action.
Just want to mention one other factor. Of course, it's a particularly long pit stop around here. We've got RSC's Pierre coming into the pit lane. RSC having a bit of a topsy-turvy race, one in 10th, one now down at the back of the grid. Situation report for, I think that's David, isn't it, in P6? He's on 5-lap-old hard tyres. Of course, he pitted off of the mediums 6 laps ago. He's only 10 seconds back from the leader here. So, of course, Uncle is going to give the position up to those on the older hard tyre. We'll have the medium tyre, but you know what? I sense a small opportunity on the cards here for David, of all people. Esco's only a couple of seconds behind as well with Jaden. So those slower runners, no disrespect to the pair of them, they still have as much of a chance as it stands anyway if they keep within touching distance of David. But if they get in the way of Uncle's sort of performance here, if David can keep up this pace, he's got an outside chance of winning this.
Yeah, he does indeed. And I said at the kind of top of the stream that FRT's starting position, 5th row, bang in the middle, it's gold dust. I mean, you just have the option to split strategies. You're in a great position. You've got cars, respectfully, you're a lot quicker than in front of you, and you can just get yourself up into this position to potentially go on and win the race, and David's doing that so far. Quantum has come into the pit lane. Question marks over whether he will change his wing. Yes, he is. So he's taking that 5-6 second penalty, if you like, just to make sure he has full performance for the remainder of this race. Will Matteo then do the same? Yeah,
Raphael's done the same as well. The RSC's now down at the foot of the field in 18th and 19th place. What a horrible race this is turning out to be for our second place team here. Ventauri have got an opportunity to close up the gap significantly if they can get Nicholas up the standings and get Ray Wintz in a decent position when he switches over to the medium tyre. I'm telling you now, actually, Ventauri have got a good shot at potentially earning some big points off the back of our second place team here, and who'd have thought that would be saying that about Ventauri, a team that lost out at the final race last season of automatically qualifying, might end up in a runners-up spot if both of these races turn out in very good stead, and especially if RSC's form at the moment continues like this, because they are currently on for nil point.
Yeah, indeed. It's not like them at all. They had a fantastic Falls performance last week. 4 cars in the top 8, just working together so steadily to just get that one over the line and not really gain or lose anything to SCI, to be honest. It was the perfect sort of outcome for them as Uncle now comes into the pits, as does Matteo. Lawrence inherits the lead of this race for the time being. David will soon take that one over. Does Matteo change his wing? No, he doesn't.
Inverse strategy, isn't it? Inverse strategy. Decided to go for the inverse on everyone else. Thinks that the time pressure is a little bit worth more while at the moment as it stands. Either way, Matteo will be coming out in P13 as it stands. As we'll just keep an eye out on Nicholas. Now out to P9, getting off the back of D-Mart and Snack at the moment. All of them are going to the end of this race here, but it's a little bit of a mixed bag here. This is a very unusual situation here for BRC because they've got a team 6th and 8th respectively currently battling with the team P3 and P1 in the standings here. So this is a very uncharacteristic scenario, but what an opportunity for BRC here. They'll know they're not going to be the faster drivers, but if they could take all the learnings from racing with these kind of drivers here, then these drivers personally are going to be earning some really, really good lessons here.
BRC's best result this season, 4th, back in Zandvoort. That was the 3rd week of the season where that happened. I've had a few points finishes since then, but really nothing to shout about. No podiums in comparison to their rivals around them, notably FST at the bottom, who got the P3 in Zandvoort themselves. So yeah, that was way back when. Here comes Matteo on the other stricken front wing of Tiago. He's just holding this one out. Florence comes into the pit lane. David comes in, but now BRC up into P5. I say that. Snack's gone straight past him as I cut to him. So back down into P6. Nothing gained nor lost there. but still, 6th and 7th place finish would be their best overall performance of the season.
Yeah, remember, of course, that round 3 event was a reverse championship race as well. So,
yes.
In fairness to BRC, they've actually managed to capitalise quite well at the Dutch Grand Prix, and now they're capitalising relatively decently as well with a 6th and 7th place finish in this reverse championship race. Of course, you've got other people in front who are just sort of capitalising on what's worked out quite well for them. Esco is the biggest shock for me at the moment, the FST man. Bottom of the standings at the moment, FST, but are doing relatively well, only 1.5 seconds back from David. 6/10 back is Jaden for IRT. There's AMR's Otsazito. God knows they need a good result. They've missed out on P3. They're down to P4 after conceding that position to Ventauri. So Otsazito really could do with the big points haul for the team, especially considering his teammate at the moment is, guess where, down in P19. He's actually been overtaken by both of the out-of-form RSC boys at the moment.
Yeah, Otsazito has been fantastic over the course of the last 2 races. He started, 17th last time out, and climbed all the way up to, I think it was 6th in the end in our 4s round last week. So just there to capitalise. And on the whole, AMR have been very, very consistent. Only 2 podiums to their name, and there's a 3rd on the line here this evening. But yeah, not that consistency, why they are as high as P4 at the moment in this season's championship. I think that's also they finished 5th last season, so it would better their season 6 performance. Was that Uncle?
Oh, it was Uncle. What a switchback that was at turn 1, turn 2. He opened up the corner and now he's got an opportunity to finally break the meme cycle. Wow, D-Mat absolutely holding on to a tank slap. He was crashing for a corner and a half, he was, but he managed to hold it. D-Mat is now up to P9, and thank God they got rid of that meme as quickly as can, being in 6-7, but you know, really good position for them in 6th now and 9th place. Oh wow, now there's another meme there, isn't it? Great. Either way, Otsazito will be now looking behind him here, because of course with Uncle flying at the moment and 0.8 of a second back from Polymassy, he's going to be flying, but he's not got that many laps to do it now. It's only 6.5.
My word, D-Man, I've just seen it back on the live stream, pulling out all the stops there just to avoid ending his race entirely. Not seen that good of a save since yesterday, 3 PM at Hillsborough Stadium. But less of that, more of the F1. David has a 1.2 second lead.
We're not talking anymore. Either way, Polymassy is doing his best here to defend from a very quick Uncle, but he is flying at the moment on these medium tyres. 19 of 25 for this race here, so it's 5 to go when he comes across the line. It's going to be, 6 rather, to keep going here as he comes across the line, because it's going to be very, very critical that he gets this one done, but gets this one done smoothly, because no doubt the likes of Snack, Otsazito especially, are going to want to defend this one pretty aggressively. Polymassy's just deciding he doesn't want to get into any kind of battle. I don't blame him. It's still a big points haul regardless of BRC and their very close battle down at the foot of the table. Snack may not choose to battle this one too aggressively either. SCI have got a nice little points haul at the moment here. It's Otsazito that I'm wondering whether he's going to be fighting too hard for here, because AMR need these points here.
Yeah, indeed. Snack is going to be the biggest challenge on the freshest hard tyres of anybody here. But every time Uncle gets into this position, I just hear the Jaws theme playing. He's so efficient in these situations. He never really gets stuck behind anybody, and he can just extract everything in terms of pace in any given scenario. So this will be now his toughest test, but one I'm quite confident is going to get done quickly here. With the exit of turn 22 and 23, just see the light flashing there on the Alpine. That's just him dropping into none. We're not into the super clipping era of the F1 games yet. Here comes Uncle. He will try and get this one done, surely into the final corner. Or does he? Down the inside, potentially? No, doesn't go for it this time. There's a long straight into turn 1. Here he comes.
Yeah, this is what I suspect he's going to look for. He isn't to overtake, but I'll tell you what, Snack got the better exit out of that corner here, because he's using his overtake to get the better exit, but it won't matter, because with the DRS open, it makes that a very easy move indeed, as Jaden has given up the position here to Otsazito. So AMR now up to the podium, but a 2.5 second gap between him and Jaden, about a 3 second gap now between Otsazito and Uncle. I do think Otsazito is going to try and defend this one for from Uncle. I don't expect Jaden to do any much of a strict kind of defensive activity here, because it's still a big point haul for IRT at the moment with that 4th place finish. It's just a shame Cimarox is not in there as well, and I think you might have seen potentially DMAT again with the rear stepping out.
Same thing. This time he just bounced off the wall to keep him in the race, but honestly he's just struggling to get any sort of traction down in the first sector of the racetrack. And you might well think about just taking this one easy to the end. I mean, there's an 8-9 second gap behind if he just wants to score any sort of points from this one. But what a fall from grace that BRC have had from their good 6th and 7th, to now DMAT just trying to hold this and score a couple of points.
Yeah, I'm wondering if his tyres are starting to grain a little bit here, because they are 10-lap old hard tyres. He was one of the first drivers to go for that pit stop alongside the likes of David, Esco, Otzazito and Jaden, but all 4 of them seem to have managed to actually do relatively well at the moment on these tyres, but they're just going to keep an eye on Uncle, because the gap now is 3.5 seconds between him and the leader of this race, and 4 laps to go. Opportunity knocks for Uncle. I would suspect Tony Reich is probably the favourite for this one with his current pace, but you never know. You might see potentially Jaden. Definitely, I think Otzazito will battle to try and stay on the podium here, because especially, as I said, AMR need every point that they can have at the moment, with Ventauri currently 8th and 10th. His teammate Tiago is down in P17 at the moment, so they're actually going to be scoring nil power with one of their drivers as it stands.
57 points between RSC and AMR. That's the current situation. RSC only scoring 1 point with Raphael at this moment in time. AMR will score, I think it's 27 for P3, so that will take the gap down to 30. We'll still have the better starting position come our second race this evening in Bahrain. So yeah, keep an eye out on this one. Could be a swap for P2 in the championship come the end of this one. SCI once again are just in a really tidy position. Yeah, they're not pushing outright for the race win here this evening. They've started at the back of the field, but they are just eking out a championship lead in a situation where you wouldn't back them to, given the nature of this championship. Now they've essentially been punished this evening for being at the lead of the championship. So again, just a really nice extending of the medium tyre stint, and now just running nicely without any concerns for 6th and 12th.
Yeah, here comes Uncle again, gets the move done on Jaden. Jaden breaking a little bit earlier on this occasion, electing not to battle too hard with Tony Reich at the moment. Otzazito then the next person. Gap is around about 2 seconds to the leader. He's gaining it around about 1.5 seconds at the moment on the front runner. Gap about 0.5 second between Uncle and Otzazito. I do think Otzazito will defend it, but we'll see what the drivers do. We've got more people getting penalties here. It looks like Laurent's getting a move done on Nicholas. Ventauri now 9th and 10th. That might further instigate Otzazito's defensive efforts. Tiago with a time penalty. That will definitely further instill Otzazito's desire to hold on to this podium. It's important here for Ventauri, because for AMR, because they've got a very close battle with Ventauri in the standings here, so they really do need to get every point that they can, especially with a double points finish as it stands for Ray Winter and Nicholas on the inverse strategy. Lap 22.5 of 25, so we'll have 2.5 to go in this one. Do still think Tony Reich, GT10 Uncle's the favourite for this one, but with every lap that goes by, you'll start to sense that potentially, just maybe, that David is starting to go a little bit out of the way, but you can see he's definitely in touching distance.
So Nicholas and Lawrence just had a fantastic, rather aggressive battle, a little bit close for comfort at turn 4. Ray Wintz got a penalty behind them as that was happening. Nicholas lost the position to Lawrence and then has immediately let his teammate through. Whether he's going to try and back up Matteo here, never has front wing damage, just to give him that room for a few seconds gap, we'll see, but it looks quite unlikely given the density of cars in that midfield train at the moment in time. But yeah, Ray Wintz in the fresher medium tyres. Nicholas playing the backup to that one after that positional swap. But Uncle, 3 cars in front of him. David has just slowed this train down a little bit. Make it harder for him. Give the cars DRS to try and defend. It's all looking a bit calculated, says Tech Brutal in the live chat.
Yeah, it's getting extremely calculated here as the drivers are just sort of working with each other here on what they need to do. Harm taking the fastest lap of this race for FST, but down in P18 it won't matter. Nam's trying to take it out of the hands of FST, but again, it won't matter because they're not even in the top 10, and they need to be in the top 10 to take the fastest lap. So keep an eye on where everyone else comes in here, as Nam's not going to get a fastest lap here because he's now just got a penalty for track extension issues. Keep an eye out on the situation here as they've got Esco, who's losing time hand over fist here, and that it may offer an opportunity for Otzazito to get close. He's had a very poor 23rd lap here. Ray Wince has just been overtaken. Have we got someone struggling? I think we do. What's happened to Laurens? Laurens has made a half spin somewhere, and the ET8 man has now been relegated down the positions. That's important. P5 in the standings, of course, they're in a close shave with P6 and P7, but they're going to lose ground to P4 and P3, who are in their own little battle. GT10, is Uncle going to look for the move? Is he going to go for the late breaker into one? Lap 24 of 25 in this race here. He's effectively pushing Otzazito around the track here, but with every corner that's going by, this opportunity to take a 100% reverse championship win sort of conversion is going to be falling by the wayside.
Yeah, absolutely. Not getting frustrated though, which is really a key element of this final 2 laps. He's just, you can see his driving style there. He's prioritised the exit there just to try see if he can gain anything in the unorthodox parts of the circuit. Snack still wants a piece of this, and he looked down and out in this situation. But once a medium tyre runner like Uncle gets past you, you think there's no way back for him.
D-Mat's gone.
D-Mat has finally crashed out.
Oh, David's gone.
David's crashed out. What on earth has happened? The race leader's gone.
The leader has gone. Where has he gone? I believe he has gone straight on at the turn right complex. Turn left, turn right complex. So that would be, again, trying to get my maths on this one, turn 16. I think, for some reason, he's had some kind of hardware failure. He's just sent it straight into the wall. Something has happened to David. We'll get a report on that one in just a few moments' time. But as it stands, Fastest Stay True are currently leading this race. But it's going to start to get extremely mental here because suddenly it's opened up all the horizons with David out of this race. We'll get more about what's happened in just a few short moments. Either way, we're on the final lap of this race. Esco will defend this one for his life here. Otzazito will do the same. It's important for AMR here to score big points off of the back of Ventari's 7th and 8th place. Tiago's got a point as it stands, so at least AMR not going to go without one driver without a point, but Esco will lead the way from Otzazito, from Uncle, from Snack and Jaden. The top 5, top 6, top 7 for that matter are all from different teams, and that is a testament to this reverse championship grid format. Esco still leading the way as they head the way toward turn number 13. Looks like, if anything, he's edged a little bit of a gap, as it looks like Snack is trying to go for the move once again at 13 against Uncle. Uncle's got it covered. I think Uncle's now thinking about behind him rather than in front of him at the moment, which is just such a weird scenario here. Here comes then the situation at 16. I do think that's where David went off. I think he just straight lined it. Something has happened to our FRT leader. We're not sure what's happened there. We'll keep an eye on that one as they continue on their way towards the final sector. They'll keep their cars nice and cool, nice and easy. But I'll tell you what, Uncle, I don't think he's going to be taking a victory. He will at least keep a podium conversion as it stands. But they're heading the way now towards turn number 27, and Fastest Stay True have proved that the fastest do stay true as they head through into turn 27. Don't mess this one up. Keep it cool as he heads his way now down towards the start finishing line, and the checkered flag is waiting for Team Aston Martin and FST. Here comes Uncle across the line. Can't quite beat Otzazito to the line. 57 thousandths in the end from Snack, from Jaden, from Polymassey, from Nicholas, and then Ray Wince. Something's happened to Ray Wince. I think he's got a time penalty. He will fall down. Mateo will take P8 from Dirk. Quantum will finish in P11 from Laurens in a very disappointing 12th. RAC, where have they been in this race? 13th and 14th place. It will be at least a double points finish for Tiago. He'll finish in P15 for AMR, and then Harm and Nam will round off our finishers for this race. Esco. He takes the victory here tonight, but I think even he will accept, I don't deserve that one.
Yeah, it's not the way you want to win, especially when David has officially punctured. That's what he's said in the paddock chat. 84% he started the penultimate lap on, and yeah, it just didn't go his way in the end. What the other tyre percentages were on around him, I don't know. It's up to them to disclose that, I suppose. I suppose that's quite sensitive information nowadays. But yes, so unlucky for David. He drove the perfect race, even just calculated his speed, and he was going to win that outright. He's just slowed down the pack just to make sure Uncle didn't have the opportunity to get through. He was the main threat. He's finished third in a photo finish with Otto Zito, who takes AMR's AMR's second podium of the season. I don't know where I was looking earlier. Yeah, just one podium to their name so far. That is their second. It's a finish 1-2, but we aren't finished. There's still another race to come. The championship numbers will be crunched, and we will go again without any stewarding.
Yeah, David will classify because he did manage to complete over 95% of the race. He'll finish in P18, 2 laps down. Esco, we've taken the race victory from Otsucito. Uncle won't get a 100% race conversion of reverse championship races, but he's still on for a 100% podium conversion for Grand Track 10. It's a big point, so regardless for the P3 man. Snack finishes in P4, down from P19. It's a great result here from Jaden, Polymassi, Nicholas, Matteo, Ray Winton, Dirk rounding out the top 10. You got Laurence, Raphael, Pierre, Sharp, then you've got Tiago, Harm, Nam, David, and D-Mat rounding off here with Simbarox 1 out of the run-in. So we will now take a quick look, if you don't mind, actually, at last week's events, because of course it was a particularly a spicy set of affairs. We were in Las Vegas. Just FYI, we are on for Bahrain in just a few short moments' time. Las Vegas Lobby 1. Won by Silo. Who else? Max von der Gies managed to get a decent result in the end for Venturi, with Sergio finishing in ET8's P3. Nicholas and Ray Venturi, great performance again from them two. From Thomas, from Nilo, from Lewis, from Valakongan, from Brando, rounding out our top 10. Simbarox 1 from Matt, Rydadol, Matteo, and then Cali managed to finishing it off for Fastest Stay True. Las Vegas Lobby 1 was plagued with challenges. Of course, we had the safety car period, which then resulted in a bunch of administration challenges. But that right there, I think, is the testament to the challenge that they've got here, because Silo managed to lead the way, but then you've got Nilo, Lewis, and Valakongan in 7th, 8th, and 9th, all separated by 1 ETA, and all of the Venturi drivers. And that, I think, epitomizes kind of the challenge SCI have got. They've got a very quick driver in Silo, but they've got some quick drivers elsewhere. If Silo was to go, what's the situation for SCI, would be my question.
I think at the minute, if it was just to drop and leave, there's only 3 weeks to go after this. I think right now they're fine if he wasn't to do another race, but certainly beyond, that there are teams now that can just deploy a driver once every few weeks. They would get a win, and it does make their challenge a little bit harder. But right now, it wouldn't be an issue. I think Tech, Volokongan, Dirk, just to name a few. Even Snack has improved leaps and bounds in the last few weeks. He's looking a real threat. The talent that they've got within, the experience, is more than enough.
Yeah, I think specifically for this season, certainly they'll be all fine. I'm thinking the longer term, if Silo was to move over to PC, and rightfully so, I think at some point, because he's definitely got the makings of a PC driver imminently, does Silo. But if he were to move on, what's next for SCI? They've got obviously a roster that's a very big depth. They've got Nilo, Lewis, who obviously just sort of finding their footing pretty well at the moment. Volokongan is obviously a veteran who is very much, I think, not towards the end of his career, but certainly in a bit of a twilight scenario at the moment, because he's been here for a very long time. His pace, not quite where we saw it maybe a couple of seasons ago. But then you've got ETA, who have got a very, very aging roster at the moment. And yeah, they've managed to fill in a few gaps, but they don't want to, the SCI don't want to fall in the trap that ETA have done and start becoming reliant upon the veterans.
Yeah, quite rightly so. But I think they've just got so much pulling power at the minute that I don't think a poach from another team would be too hard. Again, I couldn't give you an exact name. It depends in what direction this game goes, the franchise as a whole. But Volokongan is still performing brilliantly in the regular WOR tier. He's still in the championship battle with a couple of wins to his name, having not done the first 3 rounds, which is mightily impressive. I think you just give him. We've been doing random tracks in the regular season. You just give him a blank sheet of paper, a blank canvas. He can perform. So if he does decide to call it a day, it would be very sad. But I think he's still more than good enough to lead that team.
Well, we are just waiting on what the grid is going to be, because of course there may be some changes as a result of that race result. But over to Lobby 2 Las Vegas. So Quantum managed to take the race victory. Two of his teammates managing to get in the points as well. David and Adrian down in 11th and 12th place. But RSC, another fantastic result from them. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 8th. Overall, turned out to be a big points haul. BRC doing relatively decent as well, with a 7th and a 10th place respectively, and AMR scattered around the field down at the foots there, with Tiago down in 12th. You've got White Sheep in 9th, Otsazito in 6th, and of course a podium for Ticho up in 2nd place. So look, situation report at the moment is that, you've got a little bit of a mixed bag across the field, but two teams pretty much capitalised the best from Las Vegas. That was Ventauri and RSC, and they will be livid that the points were, there was a points hold put on as a result of those administrative challenges.
Yeah, 30 points. It was 30 in the end for a race win, wasn't it? It's 75% of what could have been given. It wasn't that detrimental, to be honest. And, in the 4 situation, there's more points overall per team. So everyone's still in the same boat. No problems there at all. But Quantum drove a great race. I think, he took the risk just now in Saudi Arabia that he did change his wing, but ultimately the DRS was more valuable. And Matteo made the better call in that situation, which was a surprise given the nature of the circuit. But I think FRT can sort of afford to take those risks. There are so many teams in that cluster, and with only a few races to go, they want to get up there. They want to be in that top 3, and they want to automatically qualify again. So, want to keep an eye on again.
Yep, certainly indeed. We'll be taking a very short break. Don't go away. We'll be back for our continued coverage for our next race in the Reverse Championship events, round number 11 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. See you in a bit. Welcome back then to WOR and the Legacy Division. We're here for round number 11 now of our Grand Prix doubleheader. Like we're actually live with the reverse championship grids event again. Once again, it is myself, James Otto Jota, alongside Joseph D'Ambrosio. Joseph, F1 for the next set of events ahead of us. Joseph, we now head into the next race here at the Bahrain International Circuit. It's a much simpler circuit compared to Saudi Arabia. Offers its own individual challenges, though.
Yeah, it does indeed. Certainly some of the heavier braking zones around here. Turn 1, difficult to stop your car for that without potentially ploughing into the side of another one. Turn 10, always can snatch your front left lock up there as well. But yeah, very similar in characteristic. A lot of straights, a lot of opportunity for overtaking, and we should see this play out quite similarly, I think, as well, in how some of our teams perform going up or going down the field of play.
Yeah, confirmation of David's removal from the race last time out was because he got a puncture. So he ended up spearing off at turn 15, 16, straight into a wall, and that was his race done. So very unfortunate for David, especially considering everyone else around him was on similarly aged tyres. So, very unlucky, but 80+% when everyone else on similar sort of age. I think everyone else got a little bit lucky, or just desperate unluckiness, if you will, for David in that scenario.
Yeah, I think he said as well that Esco behind him was quite fortunate to win. He thought he was pushing the whole distance to try and keep up, but actually it was sort of David towing him along, and Esco didn't look to have any concerns about tyres. So it's just one of them things. RNG on this game, it can come to bite you sometimes. Unfortunately, it was for our race leader in this scenario, which is never nice to see. And, you think of that happening on the highest stage in esports, there would probably quite rightly be some uproar because of the nature that should be an absolute level playing field in terms of tyres. But yeah, unlucky for David, unlucky for FRT, because there was such an opportunity there to jump ahead of ET8 and Vedtauri as well. So, they'll be hoping to bounce back in this one. They're in a similar starting position, so I to do well again.
There's a reason why the esports version of this game, everyone utilises, I think, just the standard FOM car, don't they? That is utilised, and then obviously it's just draped over the top with a standard livery from. It might not even be a standard livery. We saw that obviously Alpine has brought a special livery, as has Red Bull. So, that's the situation anyway for those. Either way, in the real world of league racing at the moment, these are the cars that we have got. And the situation fundamentally at the moment is Fastest Stay True have managed to take a victory here. Then, of course, off of the back of some particularly big challenges from Otzazito and, of course, from Tony Reich, now at a circuit where overtaking is a little bit more simpler, might not be quite as simple for Fastest Stay True to convert from the front.
Yeah, they're up to 8th now in the championship. So, again, on the third row, as you quite rightly say, I mean, the car behind them is Uncle, for goodness sake. I mean, if they lose one position, it could just spiral. And hopefully they don't slip far down again. But Esco knows how to control a race from the front now. So it's a great experience, even just to take into a second race. But see the question of maybe some mental fatigue as well for those teams at the bottom. But I'll hand it over to you now.
Yeah, here the drivers getting themselves ready for the second race of this calendar. IRT at the front. No more waiting. Let's go racing then here in Bahrain. And then leading the way, Jaden from Simba-Rocks 1. Simba-Rocks 1 wanted to bounce back after a very poor performance last time out. He's got a kind of an issue with his internet at the moment. Big dive bomb potentially from one of the Red Bulls down at the back, but keeping it all nice and cool, nice and easy for IRT, then BRC, and of course Esco and Harm down to P5 and 6 because of the fantastic race result last time out, but might be now P7 in the end, because here comes Tony Reich. Uncle, that's late on the brakes and potentially getting up on the back of Harm there. Might have actually Harm harmed his chances of potentially making this overtake. They'll continue round this corner here, side by side through here as Harm might have to just concede this position. Getting into a tank slapper there with Quantum. FRT wants to get this one done as quickly as he possibly can. Around the outside then of the next corner, he'll have the traction out of the corner on the medium tyre versus the hards. Here he goes then down the inside into turn 10. Surely this one's done. Big lockup from the FST man, and it looks like they're going to continue to be side by side, but surely Quantum's got the Quantum's got the traction. Otsazito relegated now to 8th as he tries to defend from Otsazito. Here they're around the outside, they'll go through 11, and I tell you what, this will be one hell of a move if he gets this one working. Side by side they will go on board with Mateo as they continue side by side here. Harm losing time and their positions hand over fist. Going to be a late breaker for the Ferrari as the Otsazito now gets up to P8. Slight switchback opportunity from Harm is going to be covered off, but as it stands so far, IRT very happy, still holding station in first and second.
Another brilliant start from Otsazito, up 5 positions on this opening lap. And, well, yeah, he is on the medium tyres, but it just always seems to gain positions no matter what. Seems to be a feature of his driving style. Here comes Polymassy, having a look on Simbaroxon. Can he go around the outside of the first corner? Massive lock up from Jaden. That sort of bunches everyone up. And Simba doesn't leave much room there at all. And Polymassy has to save his car, and he only drops into P4 miraculously, but a huge scare there for Polymassy, who tried and failed, but could Simbarox 1 have left a bit more room there? I think he could have.
Yeah, we were on board with Simbarox 1 when that collision occurred, and you can see it just absolutely turned in no issue whatsoever. Didn't even see the McLaren in that situation, but the VRC have managed to hold on to 3rd and 4th respectively. Esco decided not to go for the move going through into turn 4, so he's happy to hold his station in P5 at the moment. Quantum now Josh trying to look at Uncle here. Now I'm wondering, as we head over to the tyre situation here, what the situation is for Uncle. He's on a hard tyre. The medium tyres will now come on just a little bit in terms of temperature, so I do think Uncle will start to struggle just a little bit in this early phase, but of course the race will come back to him, but he's going to have to hope that all the medium tyre runners keep battling hard with each other, and that might be the expectation here, because Esco starting to make some inroads. In fact, he's just had a poor corner against Polymassy, so situation report, he'll be hoping that the medium tyre runners don't battle too hard, because of course he won't lose that much time.
Bit of a moment between Uncle and Quantum at turn 8 on the previous lap. Bit of tie hooking. Uncle just managing to squeeze through. Oh my word, my game has become a PowerPoint. As Esco looks for a move. That was the last thing I saw there. Polymassy's gone straight on. Oh, what's going on the brakes into the first corner? I cited it as a key change from what we've just had in Saudi Arabia. But it has all the practice gone into one basket of Jeddah here, because already some teams at the front struggling to get the car stopped at the first corner. First Jaden, now Polymassy. Been some big scares, but Esco capitalises. He's up into P4.
Yeah, Uncle also struggling as well, and he's actually given the position up to Quantum as a result. And I think actually Otsazito is sensing a little bit of uncharacteristic vulnerability at the moment from Tony Rees. GT10 Uncle struggling a little bit this early phase of this race. Of course, on the hard tyre, the race will come back to him, but you can clearly see this part of the race, he is losing time hand over fist over the medium tyre runners. Now, this is a circuit that isn't particularly high degradation, so the medium tyres are not going to fall off completely very quickly, but the medium tyres will fall off eventually, and that will bring Uncle right back into the mix. But with only 29 laps here, I'm wondering how far he needs to go into this race to try and make sure that the medium tyre alternate strategy actually works a treat here for Tony Rees, because he's already lost a couple of positions off the start. He's now down to P7, which is where he started, and it might be down to P8 imminently here, because Otsazito is looking particularly racy now.
Yeah, I mean, not going to be as plain sailing as the last race in terms of overtakes, just from the first few laps here this evening. It's always down this main straight. I don't know if that's a new bug in the game, but honestly, my game just keeps turning into a slideshow. It's where they're doing that bumpy thing on the right-hand side. I never knew that became a thing, but shows how long it's been since I last called a race around Bahrain. Here comes Otsazito to capitalise on Uncle's misdemeanours in the first few laps. There's a bit of wheel banging between the two of them. At the top of the hill at turn 4, Uncle gets a good exit, but Otsazito is just going to fly this one down the inside. Wheel banging between the two of them. Still wheel to wheel into the braking zone of turn 8. Flicks it in, does Otsazito. But Uncle with his second switchback of the evening. What a battle. He finally backs out of this one, but yeah, just needs to regroup here, just not rush into anything. maybe the medium's not degrading as highly as he was expecting.
Yeah, really good racing so far, actually, there between Uncle and Otsozito. I've never seen people be able to get through turn 5, turn 6, turn 7 side by side without there being some kind of pretty bad, at least snap of oversteer, but they actually managed it really well and very respectfully did the AMR and GT10 man. So very good stuff indeed between them, but not good stuff for Uncle, who's now down a net position. So now down to P8 is unfortunate for him on that one. Jaden leading the way then out of the final corner as they start lap 5 of 29. We've got 24 to go in this one, and Jaden and Simbarox 1 still holding station pretty well at the moment, despite the fact that BRC are now changing positions. We've got Polymassy, of course, who lost a position after that big turn 1 scenario. Esco now back up to P4 here. What a race weekend this is turning out to be for Esco from the personal level.
Yeah, it is indeed. He's really proven himself at this level. I mean, sometimes you just need the platform to maybe start higher up the grid, and yeah, he's been able to do that so far. I think there's going to be some bigger and better things coming for him in the near future. We've lost our first car. It's GT10's Nam, and for the, just going to count this up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth time this season, the second GT10 car will not score any points. It's quite a damning stat.
Yeah, this is the problem for GT10 at the moment. The depth goes as far as Tony Reich, and then that's it at the moment. So might be working really well for Tony Reich. He's the second fastest runner on the hard tyre inverse strategy. The problem is that the first person is in P2 at the moment, and it's being pulled along very nicely by Jaden on the medium tyre. DMAC can't get anywhere near him, and I'm wondering if DMAC's got a little bit of, I don't know, vulnerability to shake off a little bit, because of course that Saudi Arabia was looking so strong. Then he moved over to the other tyre, and the rear just kept stepping out left, right and centre. So I'm wondering if he's just got to shake that off a little bit and maybe start to put an attack on Simbarox 1, because these medium tyres will not be the better tyre for long.
No, they won't. I think we might be starting to see the turning point here. What does Simbarox 1 do in this situation? I mean, he's running on very little running time this evening so far. It's not like he could really back out and practice at the last race. Jaden still needed his help from an immediate engineering point of view, and Quantum goes down the inside of Polymassy. But yeah, Simbarox 1 just needs some race time under his belt. It's a bit like a Piastri situation where he's just finally getting into the groove this evening. Follow that tune, Simba. Are you going to want to take the lead here or not?
Yeah, first situation we've seen a midfield team start to come into play now. Quantum managing to now finally get into the top 5. That's FRT. His teammate David on the inverse strategy down in P11 at the moment on the hard tyre. He'll be hoping to get past Esco as quickly as he possibly can here, albeit now he's 7/10 of a second down. Not using overtake that much though, so he's got plenty of VRS at his disposal, does the man in the Racing Bulls. So keep an eye out on that one and that little gap at the moment. Back towards the front though, still Simbarox 1 able to hold around about a 4/10 of a second gap, but I've got a feeling the last couple of laps DMAT has just found his mojo a little bit. Not necessarily beginning an attack, but certainly just looking at potentially trying to get as close as he can to Simbarox 1, and I think that might be as a result of Esco, who's now starting to put his skates on a little bit as they start the 7th lap of this race.
Yeah, he wants Simba to take the lead. Simba has taken the lead. Jayton falls down into P2. Simbarox 1 now has the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. DMAT needs to try and get through on Jaden. Potential route to keep Simbarox 1 company as his tyres get in a better working condition than the medium tyres at this point in the race. We've got a DRS train spanning first through 19th. That's something that we didn't have in Saudi Arabia, so already a massively different dynamic about this race. A lot less cars with damage as well. That was a key feature, a bit of wall banging. There's not that sort of problem around him on the other side of the Gulf States. So yeah, a rather free-flowing race at this point in time.
Yeah, feeling like this is going to be a bit more of a slow burner event here, especially if IRT are trying to manage the race pace of everyone around at the moment here. I'm just keeping an eye out on the situation with GT10's uncle, who's looking like his hard tyres are now starting to come into play. I did say needed a few laps just for the race to come back to him. Lap 7 of 29 is now putting Otsazito under pressure. This may start to see that group of medium tyre runners between 2nd and 7th start to be infiltrated by the hard tyre runners, 8th down to 14th. First person, of course, as said, will be Tony Rees, GT10's uncle. Is he going to go for the dive going into the final corner? One would suspect probably not, but he certainly could look for it going through into turn number 1. Gets a bad exit out the final corner, though. Might cost him a bit of time, but he is going to use overtake. DRS available, but again with the DRS train, he's just finding that down the main straight is not the key place for any kind of overtaking at the moment. It's all going to be about the corners, but he's going to go for the late breaker, and I tell you what, that was opportunistic at best. Is he going to fight with Otsazito? I don't think he is. I think he's just going to accept that move was probably not on, but he might have got an opportunity going into the next corner, but he's used up all his ERS. He's going to recharge that battery. He's going to stay in P8.
Yeah, very, very late. I think even by his standards, just a tenth too far back. Fair play to him. He didn't keep the position because he knows better than not do a punt to pass. I think that's fair to say. But yeah, it's just been a key theme of Uncle's season, hasn't it? Probably one of the bravest drivers on the grid in terms of not being scared for having a go.
Whoa!
When the opportunity presents itself. Small tank slapper there for him. Have you seen something else?
No, Matteo hit the back of him. I don't know what happened to the ET8 man, but he's going to be a punt to pass this. He's going to go side by side here through with Uncle at turn number 11, and it looks like Matteo realised his mistake, and he's going to try and commit to the overtake. Side by side they will go. Where's this ET8 pressure suddenly come from? Bang! Straight off of the track. Bang! Straight into the outside walls again between these runners, and I think Uncle was, to be put it bluntly, not pleased at the moment with Matteo, but he's going to get this one done anyway. Side by side they will go. Uncle will get the DRS, and he goes for the late breaker going into the next corner. He's gone far too late. He's got the switchback, and Matteo is playing with his head.
Well, that got personal, didn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest, it turns out I didn't even notice it was a tap in the rear. It just looked quite natural, to be fair. No battery now for Uncle. Here comes Harm around the outside. Can he get this one done? Or one of our favourites that any race he participates in. Yes, he can. That's because Uncle got a little bit too, I wouldn't say rattled there, but he's just deployed everything just to try and prove a point on Matteo. There's now a car between them, and Uncle's race, having had the opportunity to try and turn his position around on the hard tyres, he's now going backwards.
He is going backwards. What has happened to Tony Rees? I'm wondering if for the first time we're starting to see the mental cracks in a very cool-headed racer here. Matteo, obviously, I don't think he intended, of course, to make a little bit of a punt at turn number 10, but of course he saw the opportunity as a result to look for it into 11. That's why I argue punt to pass, but either way, he gets the move done, and the ET8 man is up to P8. Harm has taken the opportunity off of Uncle, struggling with his electrical energy to go up to P9 as a result. It's all in fair warn for Harm. He'll be happy to have that position. Up to 9th he will go. I think the cracks are starting to show for the GT10 man, and I did say 100% conversion of race wins in the reverse championship now gone. It's still going to be 100% conversion of podiums, but as it stands so far, that start might be falling off the wayside as they start the 10th lap of this race.
Yeah, indeed. Accumulating laps quite quickly here. Everybody's still in the DRS train. Of course, we await the medium runners to make their pit stops in this one. Everyone, is there an advantage to that right-hand side of the track? I've never known this until tonight, but whatever is happening down there, it's making my game go crazy. As David, the should have been race winner in Jeddah, is now in a battle with Pierre Sharp. I think he's a debutant here this evening for RSC. Didn't have the best of races in Saudi Arabia, but has now overtaken FRT David and looks a lot more comfortable around here to pick up some better points.
I'll tell you what, at the moment, it looks like to me that Tony Rees is getting cooked in chat at the moment. Come on, let's leave it. Let's keep it respectful, lads. Lap 10 of 29 in this race here. Esco just off of the back of DMAT at the moment. I tell you what, DMAT, what a race this will turn out to be for him. He needs this bounce back, doesn't he, after what was very much a race that was well, high octane, to be honest with you, for DMAT, just from his own challenges with the rear stability of the car. A couple of times he managed to catch a horrible tank slapper. I think he was crashing for around 2 corners at one point, but currently as it stands on for a podium. IRT looking for a first and second place as it stands. A 1-2 finish would be absolutely lovely for the team in green at the moment, but as they start the 11th lap of this race, they've just got to maintain that status quo. I'll tell you one thing though, Jaden is starting to lose the back a little bit at Cymberox 1, and I think the moment that he falls out of the DRS of Cymberox 1 is the moment he needs to commit to a pit stop, and it looks like we're starting to see those first pit stops already. Esco is in, Quantum, I think he's in. We've also got Polymassi and Otsazito also in for their change of tyres over to a hard.
Yeah, indeed, and Esco's the critical one because he's looking to take the lead of the race once again just by going a lap or two earlier. He wants to potentially make it a double here this evening, and he's not being afraid to try and take that chance. Quantum's joined in, Polymassi and Otsazito as well. Again, drivers that have had such fantastic races around Saudi Arabia. It's going to be a really interesting battle for the track position now as we go on to the second half of this race and into the latter stages as well. Jaden runs really wide there at turn number 10. Matty, though, not able to capitalise on that. He's sort of got stuck behind it. But Cymberox 1 has broken DRS. He's in a very good position to try and get a move on, extend his gap, and potentially bring home the bacon for IRT.
I think it would be detrimental to IRT here if they don't pit Jaden. He's out of DRS of his teammate, and also people behind are committing to an undercut, so they've got to pick their second place man now. To be perfectly candid, it would be ridiculous if they elected not to do so. Here comes then Jaden. Is he going to dive into the pit lane? There is the call. That does not surprise me. DMAT also in as well. Ooh, that's late on the brakes from Jaden as well. Don't surprise me on that one. So, of course, Harm, Mateo and Uncle will then take the top 4. Nicholas in P5. What is going to be the situation in comparison to Esco, though? Esco is approaching the penultimate corner of turn number 14. Technically, this is turn 15, though we can all discard it if you wish to do so. Here they then go down this back straight, of course, utilising that inside line. Gone purple, but immediately beaten by the man behind. Here's some people going out of the pit lane exit. Got to be keep it very careful if they can help it. And I tell you what, Jaden has just managed to get the cut on Esco. It was an important in-lap, but it wasn't fast enough for the FST man.
No, it wasn't. Still in a net better position there, and he will take that at this moment in time, especially as he's got a tall order to try and take the hard tyres the distance. We've seen what happened to David, and well, could it happen again to the drivers that are trying to go 19 laps on a hard compound of tyre? Let's see though. Dirk still the last driver for the second race in a row to be coming into the pit lane from a set of medium tyres. Yeah, a lot of people criticising Tony Rees overall, just, you know, being a bit egotistical about being overtaken there. I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibility that he would have felt like that. We've seen that with, you know, Verstappen's done that in the past. You know, people that want to be at the front of the field don't like to be challenged sometimes, and maybe that's just come over Uncle and he's got to get his head level here, and I think he has done in the past 2 laps.
DMAT going for one hell of a dive bomb at turn 13 there for against Quantum as he's getting squeezed to that inside line. He'll get the DRS off of the back of Esco there, but it looks like the move is done. But a great switchback from Quantum. They'll continue side by side as they head and bump wheels going down this back straight. Now you'll see, is there going to be any benefit here from going on that inside line? There is not on this occasion, but you can see the Quantum has definitely got so much more speed down that back straight, but they'll continue side by side going through 1. Is he going to be squeezed off at 2? I tell you what, it's still tyre hooking. Wow, around the outside goes Polymassi. Whoa, what is happening between these drivers? You can't overtake there, sir. Polymassi gets that one done. Is DMAT going to get the one on Quantum as well? I don't know if Bravo Racing Club are going to be holding on to that. That is for certain, because, oh, Quantum trying to get in there as well. Banging the wheels. DMAT is absolutely defending with all of his elbows, toes and everything out there at the moment, but Quantum now relegated to 16th, and I think frustratingly as well, DMAT is almost certainly feeling the pressure from it, but there'll be questions about how BRC held on to that one.
Well, for starters, DMAT was turning right into Quantum down the straight. They want that bumpy surface. Is it like curb boosting on GTA?
Must be.
I honestly, I've never seen this. I've been so out of the loop with esports that I've now not seen that bumpy business going on down the straight. But DMAT wanted that line, so he's turned right into Quantum to try and force him onto it. Quantum's down the inside at turn 1. Then DMAT doesn't open his steering at all. He tries to turn right again into Quantum. That's where the first tyre hooking occurred. Quantum was still turning right. You could see it in his tyres, and they both went off the track. Polymassy goes off, overtakes both of them, gets a 10-second penalty. What an absolute mess.
Oh.
And then DMAT kept on retaliating.
Oh,
so there might be quite a severe penalty there for him.
Tell you what, RSC are also in a very strong scrap at the moment with Harm and there with for FST, as Harm is trying his hardest to try and get the position right back out of the hands of GT10's uncle, who's now started to sort of shake off what happened earlier on, now up to P4 as he tries to get the move done on Nicholas. Yeah, there'll be certainly questions about what happened there with BRC, and no doubt be sent to the stewards, and they'll try and defend it for all their lives. But round the outside, going through there at turn number 4, and all 3 cars off of circuit, it is certainly very uncharacteristic of the likes of Quantum. But BRC, there'll be certainly some questions about that one. Harm and David switching positions by the looks of things, by the way. David now up to P7 as he continues to chase down 13 lap old hard tyres. He's still on the same set of hard tyres that's led the way. I'm curious actually, if you don't mind, about the position of the leader. So the gap is around about 23 and a half seconds between Esco and Simbarox 1. It is a 21-second pit stop round here. He's got a net loss of around a second and a half at the moment. If he can maintain this kind of pace at the moment, Esco, and Jaden works with him, actually they've got an outside chance of potentially getting the undercut from the medium hard for the other drivers on the hard medium.
Okay, right, I've had an explanation. It's because there's less bumps over there. Yeah, I sort of forgot that the racing line was so bumpy, but I didn't realise it actually shaved off any time at all. So, nice one, Codemasters. Made another fantastic game as always. It's more bumpy! It's more bumpy! It is just curb boosting, isn't it? I'm just going to call it curb boosting.
It's curb boost. It's curb boosting. It's curb boosting, Joseph. It's not like GTA 4 where you can put one of these cars maybe on a swing set and be thrown all the way across the map. So, you know, the bottom line is that I mean, let's be honest. We wish that was a feature with an F125, but it's not on this occasion. Ray Wint's finding that bouncing over the curb is not particularly helpful though, as he's now under a little bit of pressure, I think, from Tiago. Harm with a 3-second penalty to his name, as is Polymassy. He obviously got that time penalty in that real strong battle with the likes of Quantum and DMAT. Looks like Ray Wint's also getting the move done on Harm, who's actually given positions up left, right and centre. I think he's in AI at the moment, actually, as Harm. Something has happened to the FST man. He's now down to P10. Right, okay, I've got a thought for you here. What if he's going to continue on, he's going to allow Esco through, and he's going to try and hold up Jaden Otzazito, Polymassy, etc.?
Oh, why not? Make it fun.
What a fun event.
Yeah. Couldn't put it any better myself. But yeah, he's still AI at this moment in time. No idea what's going on with him. His AI is going to come into the pit lane. So that throws that one out the water. Nice one.
Yep, I wonder if Harm has actually, it's not to do with strategy. I'm wondering actually if it's just he's decided he's just kind of had enough, and I don't blame him. Yeah, you can see there the suspension is obviously very bouncy over that right-hand side, but it's a lot smoother for the general car, so it's allowing straight line speed, and that would explain why DMAT and Polymassy were desperate to get to that inside line and almost pushing Quantum over that particular section of the track, which is bold, to put it bluntly. Either way, with lap 16 of 29, we've got 13 to go. The leader gap for Esco is now 23 seconds. He's not gaining at the rapid rate of knots that he needs in order to get the cut on Simbarox 1, but he's certainly in P2 kind of position at the moment here, and obviously getting that move done on Jaden is critical. Esco has still got that outside chance for a double victory here tonight, but he's got to try and find at least another, I'd say probably about 1.7 seconds if he wants any kind of comfort of being in front of Simbarox 1, and then hoping other medium tyre runners get stuck in hard tyre runners around them.
I've got to say massive fair play to Simba at this moment in time. That gap has just stabilised. It's been growing over time actually, but yeah, he's doing such a grand job out in front just to bounce back even from Jeddah. So Yeah, this is certainly not over yet with what he could produce on a set of medium comparative tyres. Tiago's coming to the pit lane. I think he's the first to swap from power tyres. He was the last in Jeddah, but remember he did have front wing damage there. He would drop to the foot of the field. Tiago's not had the cleanest of evenings by any means. No fault of his own, really. Competing a big final stint.
Esco getting the move done, then going through into one, no issue whatsoever in comparison to all those around him. Gap around 0.5 of a second between him and Jaden. I think this will be his alert now to get his skates on, because if the people in front have elected to move off of the hards and onto a medium, no doubt people will start responding to Tiago going for that one. Now, of course, Harm has managed to commit to the undercut, and he's actually found around a second on Tiago, which means he's now into P18 in this race. But with that time penalty and a 7.5 second deficit, it's pretty substantial at the moment for him. Esco is around about 8 and a bit seconds behind Ray Wince at the moment. I'm not going to be putting on the leader gap at the moment, because I don't want to help any specific team with gaps at the moment, but you can try and do the maths for you there on that one. One thing I will say is Esco is closing up that gap to Simbarox 1, and that will be of particular concern to IRT to try and get a race victory here tonight.
I mean, to be fair, there's so many engineering tools and programs nowadays that I imagine a lot of the team's engineers will have some sort of leader gap access at this moment in time, but I fully respect that decision to not give anybody a helping hand. It's much like the ERS, isn't it? But into the pits comes Matteo. That's nudge cut on Simba, remember. That was about 3.3 seconds when he came into the pits. And David now as well. Hopefully he doesn't have a puncture scare on any hard compound tyres. Ray Wince is lagged out. See what I can do there.
Yeah, that'll let you get on with trying to get Ray Wince back in this session as well. He's having a bit of a nothing race at the moment as the Ventauri man, but he still deserves to be in said race at the moment, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. Situation report at the moment for Esco is that he has got a gap of around about 7 seconds. Ray Wince finally joining into the session to Ray Wince, of course, obviously just managing to reconnect into the session, so take that gap with a little pinch of salt. Simbarox 1 still leading the way at the moment, gap 8 seconds to Nicholas, as we're just keeping an eye out on Uncle here as well, of course, having a bit of a topsy-turvy race. Now up to P3 overall. He'll look to try and continue on and try and take P2.
Yeah, he's back in the game here, Uncle. Yeah, much like Jeddah, there's a lot of cars around him, and that just makes life that little bit harder in terms of making overtakes. Much a DRS train. At this stage, Ventauri we've been very quiet about on the whole, and of course Ray Wince lagging out there is part of the reason why I've chosen to speak up about them again. Simba comes into the pits, but yeah, this is a much steadier performance. Really quite anonymous in Saudi Arabia, despite the fact they finished 7th and 9th, which is quite surprising. But yeah, it's just sort of how VNT have rolled the last few races, as Ray Wince has gone again.
Yeah, really struggling out there at the moment. Disappointing stuff, to say the least. We've got people pitting in left, right and centre. I'm keeping a very firm eye on Esco's situation at the moment, because of course he's now looking to battle with those around him. Simbarox 1 is down to P9 in all of this one. It might even be P10. He's trying to not get into the kind of battle with with Mateo at the moment. Mateo looking like he wants to try and get this one done. It's pretty urgent, and he goes for the late breaker, going into 4 against Simbarox 1. Simbarox 1 has it covered, so he'll have the traction out of the corner. Very well handled, I think, between the two drivers. Side by side they will go. Mateo in the end electing not to battle too hard. May go for the late breaker around the outside of the next corner, but again Simbarox 1 should have this one covered, one would suspect, as the IRT man is losing time, hand over fist to those around him, and burning through medium tyres that won't go a significantly long distance compared to the hards. Mateo has got it done, but a switchback from Simbarox 1 at turn 10 is absolutely magnificent, to say the least, as he goes through into turn 11 and defends from the ET8 veteran. Wow, wow, wow.
I was trying to read that as it was happening. I thought, oh, switchback, and he did. And that somehow just caught me off guard, because I thought he might have just sat back, allowed Mateo to do some of the work there, but he thought, nope, the opportunity is there to take the position back, and he has done so. Fantastic work from Simbarox 1, who holds on to the net lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix with, what, 10 laps to go when he crosses the line. Oh, this is exciting now.
Esco now takes the lead of this race, but Jaden wants this one covered. This is the first kind of attack Esco has had in a while here, and I'm wondering if it's just shook him up a little bit here that Jaden has got as close as he has. Down the inside he will go. DRS available for Jaden and not for Esco. Should give this one up entirely, and he will have to concede the position, colliding into the back of Jaden in that one. Esco now down to P2, his double win now up in jeopardy, but he will of course have the DRS off of the back of the kick. Sauber, who makes a mistake actually going through turn 8, so keep an eye on that one, because I think Jaden is starting to realise he's got a lot more front end grip now. He's not in the dirty air of the car in front.
Yeah, quite rightly so. Simba just nose to tail with Quantum. Needs to get positions gained and quickly. This opportunity down the inside at turn 11. Quantum opens back up the steering. It's a lot more of a respectful battle than it was with DMAT. Simba gets down the inside at turn 11. Next up is Polymassy with a penalty. And there's 4 cars all within a second here. This could be one after the other for Simba Rocks 1. If he can get this done in the next couple of laps, he will have a race lead to hold on to try and extend. And this is looking real now for IRT. FST made the most of their opportunity. IRT could be about to do the same. This is why reverse racing has been such a godsend for the teams at the bottom of the championship. Can he get the move done into turn 1 if he can think about it? He's going for it, Simbarox 1. Oh, he was hoping Polymassy opened up the corner there slightly. He did. He saw him coming. That's where he can get moves done.
Yeah, Hans retired in the pit lane. That's the end of his race. The fastest stay true. The fastest stay true Manifesco still in a little bit of a firing line, though. He's been overtaken, and he's now down to P3 as we've got a late breaker from Polymass. He's allowed Simbarox 1 now up to P4. This is a completely different scenario to what we saw last time out over in Saudi Arabia, where these medium tyres have come on an absolute treat. And unfortunately, those that are around are just them and Matteo, Nicholas, David, Pierre, Tiago, even Uncle. Uncle, as it stands, is not even getting a single point here. Make that now just the 1 point. He's in his own battle with Tiago at the moment, down for P15. Simbarox 1 getting a horrible exit out of that corner, though, has allowed Matteo right back into the mix. They continue side by side, going through into the next corner. Surely the Kick Sauber will have that one. He certainly will, but he's got to keep it cool and nice and easy. You don't want to make a mistake there, because Matteo, with all of that experience, will swallow up any positions that he decides to give up. Oh, that's very late.
Goodness me, it's just nerve-wracking watching Simba, and I know he'll be nervous himself because of the opportunity he has this evening. Matteo's coming back at him, though. He's just overtaking on every straight he possibly can. No answer from Simba this time. Matteo is now the car in front, and I feel like it will stay like this. Simba deployed a little bit of extra battery down the short DRS straight into turn 11 to stay ahead of Matteo when he made that mistake, and I think that has come much like in the 2026 season that we're seeing, of a massive long-term detriment to him. I've got a yellow flag. I think it's Lawrence again.
I think it was David. I think it might have been David once again, which is turning out to be a really poor race and a poor race weekend for David. He's going to lose many positions. It will be another couple as it stands, as Uncle is getting increasingly frustrated being bitten P15. Look at that one. You can't force someone off like that one. Oh, he's just broken early as well. We've caught that live, folks. We'll keep an eye on that one, but the stewards are not going to be happy about that. We saw that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. There was something personal with Matteo. Now there's something with David.
No,
maybe
sorry. I'm sorry. We saw it. He broke early into the corner. Whether or not you want to call it a brake check is up to you, folks. I'm not trying to spin any kind of, any kind of stewarding inquiry from, a commentary perspective. But I hate seeing that kind of incident in league racing. We'll let the stewards make the decision on that one. Otherwise, I might say something that I might regret. Arzazito still trying to chase down on Jaden at the moment. But I tell you what, Matteo and Simbarox 1 are really putting in a valiant effort at the moment here. Really big fan of what I'm seeing between the two medium tyre runners. They've been racing really well, to be fair. Simba and Matteo, obviously they're known within this community. I'd like to keep a very firm eye on what I'm seeing between these two, because this might get a little bit spicy with the next 5 laps to go in this race.
I don't know why you do it when stewarding in the race where stewarding is actually live. We don't get the results changed after the first race in the reverse championship races, purely because, well, it would alter the points. That would alter championship positions. But no, let's lose our heads in the second race where you can actually get into an awful lot of trouble. Yeah, great idea. Doesn't make any sense to me, but some people will just be themselves on the F1 game, and ultimately that personality isn't who is best.
Wow, sorry to interrupt on that one. Matteo went for one hell of a dive bomb at turn 8, and he managed to make that one work a treat. He's put Otsazito under some significant pressure around the outside of turn 10. Absolutely no way. He continues side by side. He'll have the traction out the corner, but of course with that available electrical energy for the Ferrari, Otsazito will defend from that one. Matteo is chucking absolutely everything and the kitchen sink at the moment at the AMR man, who wants to try and get another podium here for AMR. Of course, now off of the back of Ventauri's actually pretty poor race at the moment here. AMR have got an outside chance of reclaiming P3 in the championship if they keep racing as well as they are with Otsazito. Just the same, Thiago's not at the same pace.
Yeah, quite right. Thiago just in no man's land for the whole evening so far, but with 6 laps to go when we cross the line, this battle for the lead is extending an awful long way down the field as they all make their way over to the right-hand side of the circuit again. Friction curve boosting, less bumps, whatever you want to call it. I've called it everything under the sun this evening. As Otsazito goes down the inside. That was late, it was brave, but how can they keep it respectful? Unlike some of the other incidents we've seen so far this
Matteo!
season. Yes, they are. Matteo is coming through on the inside. He breaks late. It's brilliant. It's the second time this evening we've seen 2 cars go side by side, and the car just capitalised. That's the risk of doing it. Matteo capitalises. He's up into the race lead. This is so needed for ETA, who are chasing their first win since the Force round in Austria, round 2.
Yeah, that is such a long time ago for the Spanish outfit that have been, let's be candid, the second best Spanish team in this championship, with AMR very much being on the top dog of that particular little championship. But Matteo just shows, doesn't it, that is the pure, experience of a man who knows just to leave enough of a gap so then when something like that happens, just dive your car down the inside and take the lead. Absolutely fabulous. And while that's happening, by the way, fair play to IRT. They've decided to switch their drivers at just the right moment to allow Simbarox 1 still a very close proximity to the back of the AMR driver, who may have an opportunity to get this move done. He will remain in DRS though of Matteo, which will harm his chances of getting to the back of the ET8 man, and I think Simbarox 1 may just have to concede. I think he's been outdone by that ET8 driver. Here he goes then, not even going to use that curb there, gets the DRS, but he's going to fall to less than a second, just a little bit less than a second to Matteo. He's going to have to hope he can stay in DRS.
Not lost his head, Simba, since sort of being sold by Matteo. He's just kept his head down, stayed with him, and he's still in the DRS. I think that's the most impressive thing about his whole race so far. Just not letting anything get to him. Otsazito overtakes Jade in there. This is a thrilling battle for P3 now, mind. Was for the race lead just a lap ago, but now it continues even for the third place spot on the podium. Bit of Ted Kravitz journalism. Harm has reported in no false feedback in the second race, even on his controller. He just lost vibration.
Oh my goodness me.
Trying to get it back.
Sorry, just looking at this battle again with Tony Reich. Uncle, he's going to be facing the wrath of the stewards. Look out wide. Pierre will go banging into the side there. Oh my goodness me. They're going to continue as they're going 3 wide here. It looks like Uncle's getting completely squeezed here as they head their way through down the back of DRS straight. Oh my goodness me. He is incredibly aggressive out there at the moment, is Tony Reich. I'm not liking what I'm seeing, but he'll continue holding on here for just P14 as it stands. This is just not the position that you would expect someone like him in this position. He's down in P14. He's trying to hold on for just scraps of points for GT10. It's been an absolutely appalling second race for the French outfit.
Yeah, he's finally joining in the club of the second GT10 drivers. Haven't been able to get any points. Thiago and Pierre side by side. Mercedes versus Ferrari for P15 here. They try and squeeze each other over to the right-hand side of the racetrack. Polymassi and Esco up the road. Polymassi's up into P5. D-Matti's up into P8 momentarily. Nicholas gets that one back. The Williams' front wing damaged. So many battles going on at once. They're now trying to kill each other. It's just a theme of this race, isn't it? Everyone just wants to turn across each other for some reason.
I did say it'd be a bit of a slow burner, but when eventually the fuse was lit, it lit very quickly at the moment because, unfortunately for them, DMAT, what's happened to DMAT? Oh, he's gone for a horrible spin, has DMAT, and that, he was looking relatively strong, was DMAT, but he's just been spun out, and I wondered if he's even at his controller at the moment, but he's all the way off of the circuit down there. Is very unusual for him, but he's now down in P17. Ray Wintz on a fresh soft tyre to try and get the fastest lap. Won't matter because he needs to be in the top 10 to score a point here. So the Ventauri man now going to be scoring nil point with Nicholas in P12. What an opportunity is falling on the radar for AMR, because AMR's only one position behind by Nicholas. If he can get past Nicholas, AMR have got both of their drivers outscoring Ventauri for P3 in the championship.
Didn't see what happened, but Snack has no front wing at all. His race is run for STI here this evening. He'll only be leaving with whatever Dirk manages to salvage from the last few laps of this race. 3 to go now as we cross the line. I don't know whether we got collected. I don't know whether there was contact. Yeah, I'm sure that one will be sent into the long list of stewards' inquiries as well. Simba rocks one within 2/10 at the end of the straight on Matteo. They're very equal on battery, it must be said, but Simba, purely with the DRS, is in a much better position.
Go on, my son.
This is looking like a feisty end to this race.
Oh, go on, my son. I absolutely love what I'm seeing here at the moment. Simba rocks one. I'm keeping a very firm eye on how he's going to manage the rest of this race here with 2 laps to go. Laurence and Raphael getting into their own little scrap for P9 as it stands here. The ET8 man now up to P9 overall as Uncle now gets into the top 10. I don't think it'll be for long, though, if I'm perfectly honest with you. DMAT retires in the pit lane. That'll be pure frustration. I feel sorry for him, actually. It was, from a race sort of pace perspective, it was all right, but just not able to keep it clean at the moment for the BRC man. He's now out of this race. Ray Wintz will be promoted to P17. It won't matter. It will be nil point for that position anyway. Lap 27 of 29. 1.5 laps to go in this race. Simbarox one just easing off a little bit from any kind of attack against Matteo, but 100% electrical energy compared to Matteo's around about 90 something. So situation for Simbarox one is purely going to be about that extra lap of tyre performance that he's got available towards the end of this race. Could prove pretty critical. Mute, Joseph. Mute, Joseph.
I'm muted again. I've been blowing my nose between stints of talking. I don't know where this has come from this evening. Down the inside goes Simba. There we go. Let's make some noise for him as he goes down the inside at turn 1. He's got that move done. Has he gone prematurely, though? Because Matteo will want it back on the final lap. So the biggest mistakes you can make, just race management at this point in time. Has he gone too soon? Has he played a blinder? Well, he is in the lead of the race once again. It's where he started. It's where he could finish.
Yeah, it's all going to be about what Simbarox 1 can do on this lap here. It's a critical 28th lap here for the Lean Green machine. If he can put a little bit of an edge on Matteo, it might end up forcing his hand as they go down towards turn number 1 to either go for a rash dive bomb or just concede that this is done. A big lock up through 10 from Simbarox 1. It will not help his case, but he's got a better exit actually out of the corner. Keep an eye out on Jaden, by the way, because he's still within touching distance of Otsazito. If he decides he wants to get into this mix, then IRT might have an outside chance of a double podium as it stands. It's been a really, really good race from IRT. They've really managed the race excellently, and Simbarox 1 and Jaden on the inverse strategy is inspired for the 2 Lean Green machines. Matteo is all over the back, though, of Simbarox 1, and one would suggest here it might be a bit of DRS chicken. Are they going to play it cool? Are they going to play it fair? It looks like it will be DRS chicken, but on this occasion, it looks like Matteo has got it around the outside. He's going to use all the overtake he's got available now. Is Simbarox 1, and he'll dive down to that inside line. He'll use the DRS, though, will Matteo. The inside line is completely taken, but tell you what, Matteo will open the door up anyway and have that inside line in that position swallowed up. Nicely done. Late breaker from Simbarox 1, and IRT will try the hardest hold on. Around the outside he'll go. Switch back through 2. He'll have the DRS available, and he'll have the ERS available to get this move done potentially into 4. Around the outside he'll have to go, though. Later breaker. Switch back at 4, and it looks like the veteran has made made a later breaker as he critically made a mistake going through the corner. Tyre hooking, very well managed from Matteo. He still holds on, does the ET8 man on the final lap of this race. Ossazito is still holding on. Late breaker from Simbarox, 1 into turn 8. They'll continue racing here. We've seen Simbarox has been able to get the move around the outside a few times. At turn 10, switch back at 10 is so critical. They continue racing side by side. It's fantastic racing here. Ossazito senses an opportunity for a potential race victory if either of these two make a mistake. Here they go then up the hill. There'll be no overtaking available through here. No one would suspect. Matteo has had a very good exit out of that corner. Simbarox 1 may just need to concede. I've been outdone here. I decided to go for that one stop earlier and make that overtake 1 lap earlier. It's not worked out. Matteo, with all of that experience, will be very happy that he's been able to have such a good race with IRT here tonight. But the ET8 man will be smiling from ear to ear, and the veteran driver will come across the line as the race victor for ET8 in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Fantastic racing from these front 3. Brilliant. Jaden finishing in P4. Polymassy finishing P5. Here comes Dirk as he comes across the line. P6. Uncle finishing P8. Not for long though. Nicholas in P9. Lorenz in P10. Tiago, RSC 12th and 13th. That wraps up what's been an absolutely appalling race weekend for them. David will finish with the final points here. Nicholas will get his position back. He's left the session. Snack down in P16 from Ray Winson 17th. Matteo, the veteran driver with all of that experience, will be very happy with that race victory. But Simbarox won. My God, he took him all the way to the end.
Oh, to take it all the way as well. I mean, I can't stand up because I'd be too far away from my microphone. I'd have to really shout. But if I could stand up, I would be doing a little standing ovation to the pair of them for delivering us that last lap battle. That was very entertaining indeed. And congratulations to Matteo, firstly, crucially, ET8's first victory in 9 races since back in round 2 at Austria. That was a long, long time ago, and it's part of the reason why they're in the position they are in. But yeah, they are now back in contention for a late charge in this championship, potentially as high as P2, and that would be quite the achievement given the mixed season that they had. IRT will get up off the bottom, probably immediately snatching their place back from both BRC and FST, and that's just the beauty of these reverse championship races. Next week we'll ban hards, we'll do a mystery race, and I believe it's a sprint in the final round in Sao Paulo in a few weeks' time. Yeah, it is. So no more of these opportunities. It's back to as close to normal as we're going to get for the final 3 rounds. But honestly, what an experience these reverse races have been.
Yeah, I did say it'd be a slow burn at it with it. Matteo comes out on top from Simbarox, 1 Oxazito, Jaden, Quantum, Esco, Dirk, Uncle. In P9, it will be Nicholas, but he decided to leave the session before the end of the grid, so of course he did that glitch. So he finishes in 9th, from Lorenz in 10th, Tiago 11th, Raphael, Pierre, Polymassy, David, Snack, Ray, and then DMAT, of course, will classify, even though he DNF'd 3 laps down. Harm and Nam are the DNFers for this race. It has been one hell of a double header. I have thoroughly enjoyed our reverse championship races. I think that puts into testament just how well that particular format works alongside F2. So just want to put that one on the horizon, please, Luke. Either way, we are at the United States Grand Prix next week, as Joseph rightly pointed out, for our Ban Hards event. So we're back to the old the prime and option compound of tyres. Of course, without the hard tyre at a circuit where, let's be candid, it's very important that you get the undercut. That could be very crucial. Mystery Grand Prix on April 21st. We'll round it off at the sprint race, the sprint F1 race in Sao Paulo on April 28th. What a magnificent race that has been. Thoroughly enjoyed that one, Joseph.
Yeah, a long one, of course, because it's essentially a 100% race, just at 2 different circuits. So, of course, mentally draining for the drivers. I mean, one race, 50% is often bad enough for some of the experiences you can get served on this game. But yeah, doing 2, testament to all the drivers. Maybe in the future we'll see a 100% race inserted into the calendar, because it's about as close as we get doing this stuff, back-to-back races. But yeah, banning hards next week. Oh, that's going to be fun, isn't it? After the puncture drama that we've already had. Yeah, David will probably want to sit that one out.
Yep, as will probably Tony as well, to be honest with you. There's a lot of learnings to be had for certain drivers, a lot of learnings for all of the drivers, but certainly some big wins for our back markers as well. FST coming out on top with a race victory, and you've got IRT coming out with a podium. Could have been a race victory, but they'll be very happy nonetheless with that one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for our Ban Hard event at the Circuit of the Americas. Take care. Ta-da!